Reddit Ask Me Anything. I spent 21 years in prison for a murder I didn't commit, and my story was just made into a movie. Ask me anything. Hi Reddit. My name is Colin Warner and you read that headline right. I was arrested in 1980 for the murder of a young man in New York City even though I was on the other side of town when it happened. I wasn't exonerated until 2001. With me is Phil Desgranges, a staff attorney with the New York Civil Liberties Union who can help answer some of the more legal-based questions you might have. I've also included links to a website with a timeline of events you can reference, as well as the trailer for Crown Heights, an Amazon Studios movie coming out tomorrow that's based on my true story. Ask me anything. Who was the person that had the biggest impact on you while you were inside? That would have to be Carl King, my best friend. He was a fanatic, and that's how his family labeled him. He was always fighting for me. That's an alright name. Basically means King. Dope. Did you confide in other inmates? Did they believe you were innocent? Yeah, my story didn't change. What else I could say? I was never going to admit to the crime, and in my mind, if I was telling my story, it hopefully would reach the ear of someone who would be able to help me. God, that is so scary. This can happen to anyone. Even with technology nowadays, it is still up to some random people and overzealous prosecutors to decide whether to destroy your life or not. You were on the other side of town yet were still accused then convicted. Sends chills down my spine. A closed case is better than an unsolved in their eyes. What was it like to be in prison knowing that you're innocent? What did you feel when you were trying to tell people you were innocent but they didn't believe you? Being in prison felt like hell. It felt like a strange land that I was forced to get accustomed to. What I realized early on was that I was fighting for my survival. From the day of my arrest to getting out, I was fighting for survival in prison on a daily basis and fighting for my freedom. My feelings were loneliness, frustration, a lot of anger, feeling like I was a nobody, feeling like I had no one in the world that I could depend on. My main fear was that I would come out of prison and still be labeled a murderer. The fact that you can do 21 years for something you had nothing to do with and still carry that label is horrific. Not only that, but the real murderer could get away with such a horrific crime as well. I wonder if the real criminal was caught. Looks like Colin was released because the real killer confessed to it. Holy shit, that article has so many names. I lost track of who is who midway through it. What was your first meal when you got out? It was a vegetarian place, but I barely remember it because I was more fascinated by the fact that there was no cord on my wife's phone anymore. Porn can be watched from the phone. Whoa, easy now. Let's not make his head explode this soon. LOL, as if he hasn't realized by now. He's been out for 16 years. What was the biggest change in society people that you found once you got out? What I found out and I probably didn't realize before I went in was how scared people were. Scared about everything. It threw me back because I never saw it in people before. On a small matter, the use of cell phones. I don't remember people talking like that, so I was asking my wife who are they talking to? Even the geography of Crown Heights where I came from, it seemed like it was sunk in, not expanding and growing. The streets looked dark and bleak to me, so it was hard to try and reorganize things in my mind. Holy shit, you have a wife? How was it for her waiting for you 21 years? From what I can tell, he married her 8 years before he got out. I'm even more interested in how that happened. Just combed through some old articles. It stated that Warner met his wife before the shooting happened, so my guess is she just stuck by him and they decided to get married while he was still in prison. Edit. The article also says she helped him with many of his unsuccessful appeals. What an amazing woman to stay with someone she couldn't be with for so long. Holy shit, such loyalty. She if someone is a keeper. Holy crap, this is tough as hell. I really cannot imagine myself in this situation, and I pray that this never happens to anyone I know, or anyone else ever, for that matter. Thank you for doing this Ask Me Anything. I just heard r/incels weep. Methinks weeping about this would imply a level of emotional honesty and self-awareness that is antithetical to r/incels. Ro, thank you for doing this Ask Me Anything. What would you say to the other people who are currently serving time for a crime they didn't commit? Try to find some type of network. You cannot do it all from prison, from behind the walls. We have to start to build, and in order to build, we have to change our thought process. A lot of prisoners know what people on the outside want and you give them that, but it's all lip service. Self-introspection is a must. If that's not taking place, you are not growing, and if you're not growing, you're more likely to make the same mistake. Also, these folks should write to us or other organizations to seek our help. No one should be spending time in prison for a crime they did not commit. Phil, Niclou. You guys are modern day legal heroes. I am so happy that smart lawyers like you who could undoubtedly be making more money doing something else are fighting this fight. Thank you. Please support public service loan forgiveness, which enables attorneys to take jobs in the public interest. As an attorney, I strongly support it. What surprised you most about technology since you've been out? The cell phone is a trial in itself for me, so anything after the cell phone I leave to my wife. What is amazing to me in my mind is that I see cell phones as a weapon. There's so many people with cell phones and I believe we are so conditioned that we only see this as a toy. Very few people maximize the use of it, but I believe we can change our habits and we may see things a little different. What is amazing to me in my mind is that I see cell phones as a weapon. Wait till something crazy goes down. Those cell phones mean people will document it instead of doing something about it. Reminds me of the episode White Bear in the show Black Mirror. Absolutely. On r/watch PRPLD you can see many videos where no one is helping, but dozens of people have their phone out recording. I don't think removal of the phone will change that. Bystander effect has been around longer than the smartphone. Yay, but there's also the added effect of liability and video evidence now, with much stricter laws and less lenient judges. This is really only tangentially related to cell phones, but I see this as an extension of the no good deed goes unpunished mindset where people might be wary of extending personal responsibility for fear of being fined or arrested. NHS. Someone threatened to kick the head in of someone who had returned to school just weeks ago from having a brain tumor surgically removed. After I confronted this person and pushed them back after they pushed me, I was suspended for 3 days for fighting. That has a lot to do with public schools in general, but I think it's also a reflection of our hyper-cautious culture now. How much time did you spend with the actor portraying you? Keith Stanfield? Are you happy with how he represents you on the big screen? I spent about a week with Lakeith. He came to my house, came to see a movie with me. I like him a lot, because he's young, and he's doing what he loves. He found it early. For my role, you can't capture everything in a movie, but there's a lot that people can identify with. I want the movie to touch as many people as possible. That guy is a hell of a good actor. I look forward to anything he does, so I have no doubt he'll do your story justice. Hey there, Mr. Warner. During your prosecution, at what point did you go from "there's no way I'm going to be guilty of a crime I was nowhere near" to "oh my god, they are going to convict me"? But this question didn't get answered. Do you still have faith in the justice system? My feeling on the justice system is still shaken. I don't have faith in it, but what I do know is that nothing stays the same forever. You may take little dents and little hits, but the ultimate goal is for people to become more aware of their choices. I believe that we have the power to get together, organize, get a program, and institute that program. It doesn't make sense to recognize the truth and be dormant. We have to move. Man, such a bright guy that our society locked up. Jesus. I think a lot about all the human potential we lock away in cages. Cages are needed to keep violent people from harming others, but clearly that applies only to a fraction of prisons in the US. I don't have all the answers, but I know we can do better. Thanks. This is a great answer. To elaborate, what is your current opinion on the justice system, how it's progressed, for better or worse, any comparable cases, results you may have encountered, etc. I have faith in New Yorkers and people like Colin who want to fight to improve our legal system to have more justice for everyone. Because of people like Colin and Cole who are so committed to justice, I think there is optimism for progress. We've seen progress take place over the last 5 years. There were counties in New York where defendants did not have an attorney and had to negotiate plea deals themselves. But because of the Hurl Herring lawsuit the Nicklu brought, we've been able to change that. Change is possible, but there's a lot more work to be done. Phil, Nicklu. What evidence was used in court to have you arrested? Was the real murderer caught? Did you get a compensation? This American Life did the story on him here. This American Life org link. TL. DR. The evidence was terrible. The eyewitnesses were coerced. Yes, the real murderer was discovered. And yes, he was compensated. How the duck do they compensate for 21 years? So sorry lol. My bad man, turns out you weren't guilty by 2 million. Which is really not enough. I wouldn't even think 2 million is enough for a year. How much money did they pay for those 21 years? 2 million. Law UMHEDU link / special exoneration pages cassetatail aspects cassid equals 3718. Jesus Christ. Not enough. 20 million wouldn't have been enough. I hope he didn't have to pay taxes on that. You don't get taxed on damages paid by the courts. I was wondering the same thing. That would be total BS if he did. It could never be enough. What a nightmare situation. This situation is such BS. He probably lost a lot of family and friends because of this. He probably won't ever be able to get a good job now without going through the hassle of not explaining the BS he went through. He didn't just lose 21 years of free time. He missed 21 years of family, adventure, and a lifetime of promise. How much money is 21 years of your life worth? There's not enough in the world to buy you back that time. And it's not just 21 years, like you were cryogenically frozen and woke up, spending every day of that time in a prison. About as scary a place as it gets in this country, wrongfully accused, coping with your own grief, as well as that of your loved ones, fighting an uphill battle against an institution built to bury you. I cannot even begin to imagine. I smile for the freedom you have, but weep for the pain you, and so many others, have gone through because of the system. Have you had any contact with the victim's family? Do they believe in your innocence? Edit. So the response I got was someone saying he'd written letters to the mom and her daughter and is dating both of them but would rather date the other daughter. Do you hate the who prosecuted you, or have you learned to forgive him? Not OP. I've read that forgiveness has nothing to do with the other person. Forgiveness is about letting go of your anger, hatred, bitterness, and disappointment in someone else. You can't change other people. You can only change yourself and change how you feel. That's forgiveness, allowing yourself to feel peace, despite the actions of others. But what do I know? I didn't spend 21 years in prison for a crime I didn't commit. I'd probably motivated to law-abiding citizen their asses. Yes, but let's never shame people who don't or can't forgive, as though it is their own fault for feeling how they do. They are the victim. If it were me, I would hate him. It's about winning. It's not about justice. Law-abiding citizen. It doesn't matter what you know to be true. It's what you can prove in court. Why do these seem to only make the front page when the OP is done answering questions? How does prison actually compare to the movies? If you can find them, watch the 2 Louis Theroux documentaries. One is on San Quentin prison and the other is on the Miami mega jail. Both scary places to be in if you're innocent. Yowta be link. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. Thanks for watching, mate. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more high quality content.